benefits, not for 26 weeks now. We increase it from 26 to 40 weeks. So that they can look after their families' needs. And during that period, we put some money in a training fund, $10 million in the first instance, so that persons who have lost their jobs can, while unemployed, and while getting unemployment benefits for 40 weeks, still access training opportunities, so that when things normalize in the economy and they go back into the job market, they will go back there with some acquired skill. People say we didn't do nothing. These people are saying we did nothing. Also at the social level, we continue to manage effectively our social safety net. Minister of Social Care is here. First time Barbados had a Ministry of Social Care. We've had ministry with all sorts of other names, social services and so on. But this is social care. And the man who is heading that ministry, Steve Blackett, demonstrates day in and day out that he cares. So we have a social safety net that works. We have a National Assistance Board that functions. We have a welfare department that is properly resourced and that looks after the interests of those who seek its services. And of course we have a national insurance scheme that continues to meet the needs of the people of Barbados. That national insurance scheme, let me tell you, is celebrating its 45th anniversary this year. 45th because it was the Democratic Labour Party in 1967 that introduced the National Insurance Scheme in Barbados. It is the best national insurance and social security scheme in the entire English-speaking Caribbean. That keeps people from falling through the cracks. Steve Blackett's Welfare Department and National Assistance Board prevent people from falling through the cracks, the most vulnerable elements in society. We're not ashamed of that. We are also this year celebrating 50 years of free secondary education in Barbados. That too was introduced by the Democratic Labour Party on the first working day in 1962 by General Barrow. When people were telling him, we got to set up this committee to see how it will work because the opposition party said it may not work and so on, Barrow said, I don't want any committee. Let me tell you how we're going to introduce it. Let me tell you how we're going to introduce it. He said, on the first working day in 1962, no fees will be collected from anybody in a government-owned secondary school. That's what we're going to do. We started with tuition in 1962. Around 1974, we moved it from tuition to textbooks so that we have a free textbook scheme in our secondary schools. Late 75, early 76, we carried the expansion of educational opportunities a little further by the introduction of the Student Revolving Loan Fund, which allows students who want to go on to higher education to have a fund on which they can draw to facilitate them. And this government, the present government, the fund used to make available, I believe, about $50,000 to students. We now have increased it to $100,000 that students can get from the student revolving. This government did that. And we said, if all these opportunities exist, in order for students to take full advantage of the opportunities available to them, they should be able to get from their homes to the institutions of learning. They should have no excuse for not going to school, so we introduce free bus fares.
Thank you.
Free transportation. So, free secondary education is not just what happened in '62. It is an evolving concept. And let me tell you this. Because we have been concerned about how many students have to be turned away from the community college every year because of the limitation on places, we introduced sixth form education at Christ Church Foundation School and sixth form education at the St. Michael's School. And let me tell you this evening. I, Freundel Stuart, am going to see to it that a Democratic Labour Party government be the first government in Barbados to introduce a sixth form in one of our newer secondary schools for Barbados. Until we do that, there is still a basis on which we can say that there is discrimination in the education system. I have two schools in mind. I'm not going to call their names now, but I have two newer secondary schools to start with, at which I think sixth form education should be introduced. That is what this Democratic Labour Party is about. They can talk as much as they like. While they talk, we do. So we've responded to the crisis economically, and we've responded to the crisis socially. Our camps, as I said earlier, are functioning very effectively. Over 10,000 students last year benefited from our camps, participated in them. Parents can now go to work and feel comfortable because they know where their children are. And at the camp level, we also involve mature students in leadership training by putting them in supervisory positions at the camps so that they can benefit from them as well. We don't apologize for that. And let me tell you something, you are not going to hear any of them say that if they come to power in the next 20 years, that they are going to get rid of any camps. They're not going to say it. In the same way that they criticize the introduction of free secondary education, and it's still in place, they couldn't touch it. They criticize independence, it's still in place. In 1974, when we amended the Constitution to give the Prime Minister the power to appoint judges, since he already had the power to appoint the Chief Justice, they nearly tore Barbados down. But when they came into office, they didn't touch it. And that is how it goes. And all the lot of talk you hear now, none of the programs that they're criticizing, they will touch when they come into office next 20 years. So we've done what we had to do economically and socially. At the political level, as I said earlier, we've been looking at the structure of government, and it is true that since local government was abolished in Barbados around 1967, that the pressure on central government has necessarily increased. We did not believe in local government, as was practiced then, because it was too corrupt and it was too demeaning, and we did not see why anybody should be going to Queen's Park with any begging bowl or run around the place begging for cakey pants and all kind of foolishness. We did not believe in that. We thought it was demeaning, and we ended it. But we have now put in place constituency councils connected to every single constituency. And those councils are supposed to be like sensitive seismographs, registering all of the changes, all the fluctuations taking place in the constituencies on the ground, seeing what people need, feeding back to the government gives them the resources to deal with the simpler problems so that people's lives are kept comfortable. We don't apologize for that either. At the political level, we've brought government closer to the people. You know that they got in the House of Assembly, engaged the House for about three days fighting the introduction of constituency councils. They said that we are destroying democracy. You're bringing government closer to the people. And they said, we're trying to destroy democracy. When they come to poor and explain here, they can touch that either. Don't worry about that. So, ladies and gentlemen, I am here to say to you this evening a very simple thing. You are members of and support a party of which you can feel proud. No political party in Barbados has done as much for this country as the Democratic Party.
So little.
Exactly, so little.
The argument against us at one stage was, and we're trying to raise it again, we are the party against women. Now, to be quite honest with you, I prefer it put that way than for them to say that we are the party for men. And they say that because when they were last in office for a while, they had three or four women in the cabinet. And they said we'd never done that. No. If that is the test that you use to determine how a party feels about women, that test has no durability at all. Because quite frankly, they don't have anybody in any leadership position in the Barbados Labour Party as a woman now either. Well, there may be one, but let's not. It was the Democratic Labour Party, sensitive to how our history has unfolded, how we have evolved as a people and as a society. It was the Democratic Labour Party that in 1975 introduced an act called the Succession Act. That act, for the first time in this country's history, accorded recognition to common law relationships. That act enacted, and still enacts, that a single woman who cohabits with a single man for 5 years or more, whether he carries her to the church or not, is his wife. And at the time of his death, she has the same rights as if a priest had pronounced his benediction on the relationship. This party did that. That was a great leap forward for the women of Barbados. Scores of them, thousands of them, benefited from that measure. And it brought along with it recognition for the children of those relationships who, before that, were treated as and called bastards. I know whereof I speak. I know whereof I speak. Children don't have to worry nowadays whether they were born in wedlock or out of wedlock. They enjoy the same rights as children born in wedlock, thanks to the foresight of the democratic. To say we didn't create the party against women. The Democratic Labour Party is the first party in Barbados to pass a piece of legislation intended to benefit women exclusively. The Succession Act, which I just mentioned, benefited both women and children. But in around 1976, this party, again sensitive to the fact that women were being disadvantaged as a result of doing something very, very simple, of getting pregnant. Women who got pregnant could not get maternity leave with pay.